Get started. Cool. Okay. We are live. 5 o'clock. We are going to get started here. Welcome to the third installment of TWS Online. Let me start sharing my screen here. Get the slides up. Cool. Okay. Welcome again to the TWS Student Chapter General Member Meeting. And with that, we will get started. So we are doing dues this year, and they're $5 a semester or $8 a year, and we have a couple ways to pay those. So we have an online payment method through PayPal using my email, and then we also can do a cash drop-off on my office hour on Mondays from 10 to 2.
Nate, you can mute Brett.
Yeah, I was just about to do that. Okay, there we go. All right, continuing on. So yeah, my Monday, I have an office hour from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and I'll be in there so you guys can drop off cash that way. So if you're using the PayPal method, make sure to use friends and family so you guys don't get charged, and then make sure that your full name is in the notes and things like that. So Bradley and I can collect dues. This isn't really helpful as I'm the only one that'll be in person, but that is the case. If you have any questions about membership dues, you can ask any of us and we'll be able to help you out there. Cool. Melinda.
Hi. All right. So along with dues, we have a membership form that'd be great if everybody could fill out so we can get a full roster for this year along with some other info. I've got hold harmlesses figured out. Those will be emailed out after the meeting. Nate just talked about dues. That is the link for the membership form. I will put it in the chat in a sec. And just for keeping attendance and stuff, please use your full name as your Zoom name because that makes it a lot easier for me to take attendance. You can rename by right-clicking on your image and clicking rename.
Awesome.
And then hold harmlesses are coming out after the meeting. I will send them out in an email. You need to have one filled out if you want to go on a project. I have it set up as a PDF. You can fill it out using Adobe Reader, which is a free program, and their fill and sign function, or you can print it out and scan it and send me back an image of it. When you send it back to me, please put your full name in the document title and make the subject line of your email TWS hold harmless so that my inbox does not explode. Yeah, so that'll all be in the email that I send out later.
Awesome. Thank you, Melinda. Lizzie.
Hello guys, our conservation topic for this week is about gopher tortoises and their success in being translocated. So a bunch of gopher tortoises, about 150 founding individuals, were translocated to a barrier island in Georgia. Now, these tortoises weren't actually native to the island, but since the species is vulnerable, the researchers thought it was a good idea to take the tortoises out of places that were going to be developed and instead start kind of a backup population on another island. And they found that this was actually a huge success. They did surveys about 20 years after the introductions and found that the population was now 250 juveniles and adults. And they didn't count hatchling turtles because their survival rate was really low. So they only counted juveniles and adults because at that point, they were pretty much gonna remain alive when they were at that stage. So that's over 100 individuals that are now a part of the population. So that's really cool. We can go on to our quiz bowl.
All righty, I will launch our questions here. We got 2 quiz bowl questions, it looks like today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those are launched. You guys can see those now. Okay, yeah, getting some answers in. We need some sound effects in here.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool. The two pictures on the slide, the one is obviously a hatchling tortoise, and then the other one is a much older individual. So it just shows how big they can get.
That's awesome. Okay, looks like we've got the majority here. Gonna end the poll and share the results.
So you guys got it wrong for the first question. They can live to 40 to 70 years. So you weren't super off, but they're not quite as long lived. And you guys got the second question correct. They males actually take between 9 and 12 years to mature, and females take between 10 and 21 years to mature. So that explains why if the adult population is really wrecked up, then like their population is pretty much screwed, because then there's no reproducing individuals. So yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Lizzie.
All right, and we have a bonus topic. This is kind of a current event that I thought was important to share. But we've been seeing a lot of massive bird die-offs in the Southwest. Like just an unprecedented amount of migratory birds, like hundreds, thousands of millions. Like it's insane, and it's been happening across the Southwest and even into parts of Nebraska. Just all sorts of warblers, swallows, blackbirds, flycatchers, and sparrows. Literally, like there's been reports of them falling mid-flight from the sky, just taking a nosedive and dying. And they found that the corpses have had very little muscle mass and fat reserves left. So scientists are unsure why exactly they're dying, but we're suspecting wildfires for one. As they migrate through the West, they're kind of pushed away from the areas with all the smoke, and they just use up all their fat reserves trying to fly away. And the cold snaps also aren't helping, because a lot of the insects, their food is literally not there. Like they can't eat anything. So just something to be aware of.
Sad times, sad times.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Lizzie. Cool current event there.
All right, this one's a little happier. I'm still looking for apparel designs. No one sent me anything, so feel free to send me any designs you might have. Pictured as last year's, and whoever wins the little contest will win a free T-shirt, and you'll have your artwork on the T-shirt. So that's awesome in and of itself. You can submit your designs to me. My email is on the screen by October 1st at midnight.
Awesome. Yeah, this is super cool. You get the free shirt. So definitely recommend doing this, all you artists out there. I know you're out there. Don't be shy. Super cool. All righty. So we have the North Central section of the Wildlife Society is doing a professional development fall winter webinar series. And there's some really awesome speeches that you guys can register to listen to. A highlight here would be on November 18th. We have a speech by our own Dr. Riddle on leading effective online meetings. So maybe I need to go to that. Who knows? But some really cool stuff, something for you guys to look out for and maybe register. There's also another webinar to look out for. The Central Wisconsin Invasive Partnership is doing a webinar on invasive species. So if you guys are interested in that at all, head on over to the CWIP website and register there, and that's being held on September 26th. We also are doing the CWD kiosk again this year. So I sent out an email earlier today giving a little bit of info on this, but basically we partnered with the DNR. People can drop off deer heads to get sampled for CWD by the DNR, and they want us to be checking it every week. So you can sign up to do that with that Excel link that I sent out today. So check your email. And then if you guys have any questions, Jeffrey Edwards at BHA has a lot of info and he can help you out there. Cool. Any questions on that right away before I move on? Cool. All right, I will head on to the next one.
There's a question, Nate.
Okay.
You need to have
Thank
a
you.
card to participate in the CWD kiosk event.
Yes, you would need to get to the kiosk to check it. And it's not too far away. It's located, I believe, in Whiting, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe you'd be able to bike, but you would need to be able to get to the kiosk. So yeah, I would say transportation of some sort would be good. Cool.
Guys, the Midwest Fish and Wildlife Conference is January 31st through the February 3rd, 2021. So if you're a co-leader or you have some research you want to present, this is a great opportunity. As of right now, it will take place in St. Paul, Minnesota, but with COVID, it might switch to virtual. So if you want to present your research, abstracts are due this Friday, September 25th at 11:59 p.m. And yeah, that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you, Mackenzie. Any questions on conferences? Yes, the chat has given it away, but there's a slide coming up about a special surprise that we have. But we will talk about that in a little bit after we talk to Tommy.
Hello, everybody. So the fire crew has officially started trapping in Schmeekly. And if you're interested in going out, they've been having some good luck catching some mice and even some flying squirrels. They've had pretty good luck. So if you're interested in helping out at 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. during the week, email Jacob Bergstrand at the bottom of that slide there, and he can give you more information.
Awesome. Thank you, Tommy.
Hello.
Amanda.
If you don't remember me, I'm Amanda, the education coordinator for TWS this year. And we are starting a really cool project that's going to go on hopefully both semesters, but we don't know. It's going to be a video series, and it's going to be educational videos that we put together. Each project that we have, if you choose to participate, will have your own like short little video. We're going to do some cool filming, and we will send these videos. They're going to be probably 5 to 10 minutes long to local schools and different educational resources. It'll be a resource for people to use, teachers to use to send out to their students, kids to watch. It'll be available on YouTube so that anyone can see them. And it's a really good way to educate people about wildlife, to get the word out about the wildlife profession for some students who might not know about it. And just like a few things about what the videos will look like or what they will include. They'll have some basic like animal facts about, you know, what the animal is that you're studying, how you collect the data, why the data is important, like what a career in wildlife ecology might look like, why you like working with wildlife, hopefully be able to do some interviews with the co-leaders or the volunteers that are out on the project when we're filming. And hopefully be able to provide like an activity for the kids to do afterwards, or some extra information of how to get involved in citizen science if they like working with animals or anything like that. So it should be a really cool video series. We're still working on a title for it. But right now we are looking for, I'm looking for co-leaders to contact me if you're interested in having your project do one of these. It'd be a really cool way to advertise your project, and also just fun to like teach other people about what you're doing. And I also would love to have some volunteers who might want to help film. If you know you're going out on a project and you might have some time and you have a phone that you can just take some videos, then let me know and I will send you a list of like what kind of stuff we need to film, and you can hopefully get that filming done. And then finally, if any of you out there have video editing skills, we would love to have your help. Nate and I are going to try to tackle the video editing, but if any of you have experience with that, let us know, because we would love to be able to have you help out with that. So are there any questions right off the bat?
Awesome.
So definitely, yep, my email is on the slide if you have anything, and yeah, you'll be hearing from me next week probably.
Sweet. Thank you so much, Amanda. Yeah, this is super cool thing we hope to get going here pretty soon. So projects, let's get some filming done. Okay, cool. Moving on.
Hi everyone, my name is Melina. Me and Megan are leading a CNR Bible study, so specific to all natural resource majors. The first meeting is this Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. and it'll just be like getting to know each other and checking in on people, seeing how they're doing with virtual classrooms, and then also talking about what people are interested in learning when it comes to studying the Bible and what kind of content we could be doing. So I hope to see you there if you're interested.
Awesome. Thank you. Any questions about the Bible study? If not, we will move on. You can put them in the chat. Sure that Melina could answer them for you. Cool. Awesome. Flying Squirrel Project.
Hello, I'm Melissa, one of the co-leaders. So we have been discussing doing some little bit changes on the project due to the whole COVID becoming more of an issue. So we're going to be reducing it down from the 6 volunteers a night to 1 volunteer a night. And I'll be sending out an email later, hopefully today or tomorrow, about that. But otherwise, please still feel free to sign up. We still do have spots open for 2 weeks from now. We still have some spots open. So just be ready to check your emails for that. Otherwise, everything else is still the same for like baiting, checking traps, but we're just limiting it down to 1 volunteer night, just to preventative measures. And if you have any questions, you can email any of us.
Cool. Thank you, Alyssa. Yeah, Flying Squirrel Project doing awesome this year. Lots of squirrels. It's a really fun time. I got to go out just a little bit ago. Had a blast. So totally would recommend for you guys. Thank you. Bear Project.
Hello, folks. So the Bear Project, two of our co-leaders are graduating in the spring. So we are looking for 2 to 3 new co-leaders, so to kind of get you guys trained up and like a part of the process. I will send out an application later, like after this meeting tonight, and it'll be due October 15th at midnight. So if you have any questions, and if you fill out the application, you can email them to me, and my email is on the screen. So thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Lizzie. All right. Mr. Social Distance Coordinator could not be here tonight, so I am taking over and announcing that we are doing a Zoom Kahoot game tomorrow, I believe at 6:30. Should be pretty fun. It's going to be project-based questions, some fun questions about wildlife, things like that. Should be a good time. If you guys want to come hang out, yeah, stop on by. Zoom link should be in your email. Otherwise, it's there as well. Take a photo, copy it. I believe Nathan's going to be sending it out another email tomorrow as a reminder too. So hope to see you there.
Hello everyone. So every Friday we feature a wildlife photo taken by one of our members on our Instagram and Facebook page for what we call Fauna Friday. So if you have any cool wildlife photos that you've taken recently or in the past, you can DM them to our Instagram page, or you can email me, and my email's up there on the slide. And then you can follow UWSP TWS on multiple platforms. You can check out our spin page. You can click to join so you can be added to our email list. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. We even have a Snapchat, and you can add us through the Snap code up there on the slide. Through all these platforms, you can get important updates on the society and all of our projects. So check us out. Also, if you know of someone who couldn't make it to this meeting, or if you can't make it to a future meeting, you can always watch our recorded meetings on our Facebook page or our YouTube channel.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, that's me again. So another student chapter has started an email pen pal program for TWS students across the country. So all you have to do is fill out a quick Google form, which I can send the link in the chat. You can choose to be matched with an undergrad or grad student. You can choose to be paired with someone who shares your interests or someone who has different interests than you. And you'll be sent an email with your paired pen pal by October 3rd. It's a really great way to connect with peers in the wildlife field, especially during these virtual times. So let me know if you have any questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Shelby. So we have a very special birthday today. One of our officers, Mackenzie Whitney. Everybody, unmute your mics. Just let the happy birthdays fly. Fill the chat with them. Happy birthday, Mackenzie. Hope you had a great day today. It was a beautiful day.
Woohoo!
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mackenzie.
Happy birthday.
You guys are making
Happy
me
birthday.
blush. Gosh, you got a good picture of me too, like the only stuff.
Happy birthday, Mackenzie. Hope you had a great day, and it continues to be a great day after the meeting. I know this was probably the highlight of your day. TWS, man.
Oh yeah, it was. Wow,
Okay,
you guys are making me feel so special.
you are. Thanks for being a great officer and a great TWS member. Cool.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Moving on. So, sadly, no meeting next week. We have TWS Nationals that's online. So I hope that some of you registered to that and are maybe presenting research, which should be super cool. Excited to see how the online format turns out. But the week after the next, we have Natalie Erickson from the New Zoo in Swamico, Wisconsin. And she's going to bring and show us some ambassador animals, which should be super cool. And she's going to teach us about some of the things about working with captive wildlife. So that will be 2 weeks from now. Should be an awesome talk. You get to see some live animals. Sadly, they couldn't come to us in person, but it'll be cool to get a nice Zoom view of those animals and get a look at some captive wildlife info. So without further ado, we have Sabrina Clays, our very own, an officer from 2 years back, and she is now with Quail Forever, and she is going to be kicking off our speaker schedule this year. So Sabrina.
All right. All right. Wow, this is totally different. I haven't really done a lot of these like webinar COVID things, so this is going to be really new for me as well. Happy birthday, Mackenzie, by the way. And so give me a second. Let me share my screen. Okay. Can everyone see that? And everyone can hear me? Does that sound good? Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna just kind of kick things off. Like Nate said, I'm Sabrina, and I was in all of your guys' shoes not even a year ago. So that's kind of why it says less than a year in the real world. It's crazy out here, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun to be, I guess, a big kid. So that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about. And I'm a farm bill biologist. I work for Quail Forever. Most people probably know it as Pheasants Forever, but I'm on the quail side, so that's pretty cool. I see Dr. Riddle's hands shaking in the air. So I'm going to keep going. So here's just my outline. I'm just going to go quick, like who I've been, or who I am, where I've been, what Quail Forever does, and what I kind of do now, and what I would have done differently when I was in college, and what would have prepared me better for my career now. So who am I? Most importantly, I've always been team mammal, but I've kind of switched to team birds. But you know, I'm always team mammal. And I was born in Iowa. I'm born and raised there, and I'm proud to be a Pointer, Pointer alum. And now I'm just kicking it, and I'm a farm bill biologist. So that's really quick and dirty who I am. So that's me. This is kind of I figured I'd kind of go through my background a little bit. College resume, like Nate said, I was a membership coordinator a couple of years ago. I was a Lagomorph project co-leader. So for all my now co-leaders as the Lagomorph project co-leaders, like I give you a huge shout out. It was a great project and I loved working on it for 2 or 3 years. And then I was in Women in Natural Resources all 4 years. I was a member and then I moved up to web designer and president and all kinds of positions. And so I highly recommend that you branch out to different types of organizations, whether that's Women in Natural Resources or Fire Crew or something along those lines. Definitely look into some other clubs. So that was kind of me in college. And then kind of my job resume. I started as a seasonal naturalist in between some summer jobs in college. And so that was really different, being kind of an educator rather than a researcher. I was so research focused in college. And then I did this seasonal naturalist job and I worked with kids and I showed them all the different kinds of snakes and this hawk that I have up here in this picture. And that was it was really fun, and it taught me how to present in public, and it was something I didn't realize that I loved to do, and now I love to give presentations. And then the summer between my my sophomore and junior year, which is technically when you're supposed to go to Tree Haven or you're supposed to go to Europe, I took instead of going to Europe or Tree Haven, I was a Boone and Crockett Fellow, and I worked with Kara White, an old graduate student at UWSP, and we were studying swift foxes in Western Kansas. So I took a summer out there, and I trapped small mammals, and I collected poop. Actually, I collected fox poop, and I had the best time of my life out there. I highly recommend that you go explore the United States a little bit. And now I'm in the works of hopefully publishing a paper with that project. So it's crazy what kind of things it brings you. And up here, there's a prairie rattlesnake. Yep, there was a rattlesnake in my small mammal traps. It was awesome. How do you get them out? Carefully. So all kinds of crazy adventures through that project, and it was a lot of fun. But summer of 2019, I went to Europe. I did the Europe trip instead of going to Tree Haven. I highly, highly recommend it. If you even have an inkling of a thought, apply for it. Try to dig up some money, get some loans. I don't know how you're going to pay for it, but do it. It was a great time. This is the crew right here in front of this awesome cave that we went to in Poland. And I'm sure there's some people who I went to Europe with on this call right now, and it was awesome. So just do it. Don't take a second to think about it. And like I said, now I'm in my position, and this is me and some of my coworkers on a glade, and I love my job more than ever. So onward. So Pheasants and Quail Forever. Just to give you a short background, we're a non-government organization, nonprofit. Pheasants Forever started in 1982 with basically all of these hunting buddies that came together and saw pheasant populations were on the decline. They saw them in the decline. They saw that their hunting numbers weren't as good as they used to be. And then they similarly saw that with quail in 2005. And so then we created the sister company, Quail Forever, who I worked for. We have over 350 biologists employed across the entire United States. We're missing a few states, but we're almost there. And that ranges from farm bill biologists like myself, habitat specialists who are on the ground, boots on the ground teams that cut cedar trees and put up prescribed fires on the ground and do all kinds of cool stuff like that. We have various coordinators. So for all you education coordinators, any kind of environmental educators, those are positions for you. We have a pollinator and monarch coordinators. One of my really good friends and now coworker is Leslie Fowler, is our pollinator coordinator, and she does an amazing job really advocating for good habitat on the ground. And then regional reps. A lot of our money that we have funding coming in is from members, the 138,000 members across the United States. All of the $35 membership that that anybody can buy, that brings in a lot of money. Any kind of banquets, and it's similar to DU or NWTF, but we specialize in pheasants and quail, and we really put biologists on the ground like myself to help create better habitat, which is our main mission. Is we create better habitat and good habitat for quail and pheasants and all other wildlife. So I don't know if anybody else has seen this kind of meme, but this is the pretty normal. This is kind of what my friends think I do, especially now. If I forgot to say this, I'm living in Louisiana. I took this job down here, and I live in the northwest corner of Louisiana. I'm stationed out of Minden. You probably have no idea where I'm talking about, but this is what most people think I'm doing because I live in Louisiana and they think I live in the swamps. This is definitely what my mom thinks I do. She, I think, constantly asks me if I've seen an alligator. I have not, by the way. Society thinks we're a bunch of tree huggers, and trust me, I work with people who think I'm tree huggers, think we're tree huggers anyway, and this is what other majors think we do. We just hunt all day long, right? Which I do sometimes hunt occasionally, which is part of my job, is advocating for hunting, but it's not what I get to do every day. And this is what I thought I was going to be doing. I thought I was going to be radio trapping and radio collaring all these people, or all these animals. I thought I was going to be this big game biologist person. And this is what I really do, especially right now with COVID going on. It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of, I sit at home. I'm in my room right now, if everybody can tell. And so I sit at home a lot of days and I telework, and I do all kinds of random stuff. So most of my job is consumed by paperwork, but on the off chance that I get outside, it's really fun. So to kind of further talk about what a farm bill biologist does, we work with private landowners. So for anybody that owns, you could own a half acre of land and you could own 300 acres of land, and we're going to work with you. We're really interested in working with private landowners that want to create better habitat for wildlife. And we can enroll landowners in farm bill programs. So things such as CRP, or the Conservation Reserve Program, EQIP, which is the Environmental Quality Incentives Program. So basically giving landowners cost share. So they enroll into a program, they pick what we call conservation practices, and they install those onto their property. So thinning your forests, planting better habitat plots, installing prescribed burns, and there's hundreds of options that landowners choose from. And the government provides the farm bill every 4 years, and it brings in it has a set amount of money, and when they enroll, they are applying for that money. And so at a set rate, usually landowners get money to help make better habitat, essentially. So it's just reducing the cost, because habitat work is really expensive, whether that's prescribed burning or thinning your forests or anything like that. So it's expensive. I kind of already hinted at it, but I work with partners. Quote, partners, that's a lot of people. That's a federal agency like the Natural Resource Conservation Service. That's the U.S. Forest Service. That's the state agencies. So down here, it's the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, and other NGOs as well, other Ducks Unlimited and NWTF and all those other great agencies. And we work with, anybody that you can kind of think of, anybody that we can kind of collaborate things on, we try to do that as best we can. What else do I do? I create management plans. So I create management plans for those private the more you get into your studies, especially wildlifers, you have to take habitat management. And that class I learned so much from. And I actually, when I was in my interview, they asked me, well, have you ever made a management plan before? And I said, I sure did. I did with 4 other people, and it was a great management plan. And they asked, I mean, specifics on what did you plan? How did you plan it? What were your species that you planned? So that class is really important. So don't take it for granted. It's a great class, and definitely try to submerge yourself in it, because you'll definitely get asked those questions when you get into your career. Every once in a while, I'll do some surveys. So I do a lot of plant surveys, looking at pollinator habitat, and occasionally we'll do a few quail surveys, which is really fun. And I look at plants a lot more than I thought I would. And you can see here, I'm with 2 of my coworkers, and that's a lot of what I do is I look at plants. When I go out and I talk to landowners, I look at plants and I tell them, oh, this is the kind of plant that you have on your property. And they're so interested in that. So learn your plants, really important. Okay, so I'm here to really talk about quail. And as Mr. Riddle calls it, God's bird, right? So if you've never heard him say that, you will in your 4-year career at Point. He will say it. So we're going to talk about God's bird. This is the northern bobwhite quail. And so what kind of quail habitat or quality quail habitat do quail need? They need escape cover, they need rearing and brooding cover, and they need nesting cover. Typically those are kind of your shrubs and brushes, your forbs, or your wildflowers and weeds, and then grass cover. So typically, if you never knew this, I didn't even know this before I started my job, quail, when they hatch, they're the size of about a bumblebee. So they obviously can't be running around through your lawn and expect not to get, eaten by a coyote, or, they don't have the necessary habitat that they need, which is why we're here, is to make that better habitat for the quail. So this is typically what northern Louisiana looks like. Honestly, this is a lot of what Wisconsin looks like. If you've ever just drove down the road, a lot of it looks like this. A lot of trees, it's really thick. There's not a lot of understory vegetation at all. It's just a thicket of pine needles and just some shrubs. So dense leaf and needle layers, and then pretty much just a solid woody understory when we really want that grass and forb understory. So to kind of back up, plant community succession is super important, especially for quail. And so this is kind of a picture that I really like, because in the 60s and even in the 50s, we had a lot of open pine savanna, kind of even oak savanna type ecosystems and environments. And over time, we stopped doing a lot of burning. And this goes for the southeast in Louisiana, and this goes even for up north. We stopped doing a lot of prescribed fires because mainly because we had a lot of kind of outrageous forest fires, and then Smokey the Bear came along, and a lot of people were scared of it, and they still are very scared of prescribed fire. So we stopped doing a lot of prescribed fire, which almost instantaneously stopped thinning our forests for us. And we stopped thinning our forests because we thought we could make a lot of money in the timber markets. And so in 1966, in this picture, it's beautiful. It's very open. You can see that luscious, even though it's in black and white, you can still see a luscious vegetation, vegetation layer. By 1981, it became thicker and thicker, and you can see that leaf litter on the ground. And now, even in 2001, it doesn't look much better. So how do we create better habitat? Because I guarantee you a quail is not gonna nest right here in this leaf litter. It needs a lot of that, again, grass and forb environment. So this is what I'm really looking for. This looks like a loblolly or a longleaf pine habitat. It has a lot of good structure to it. So you can see the grass in here, and that's good for, again, the nesting cover. And you can see the forbs. This looks like black-eyed Susan or something, and it has some woody, shrubby components too. This habitat is clearly burned quite often, and it has a very open structure to it. So a lot of open canopy, a lot of sunlight is hitting the ground, so a lot of vegetation is growing. So this is what I look for. But I mean, how do we get to that? How do we get to that beautiful open pine savanna type area? If you guys don't know the 5 Aldo Leopold tools, the axe, the plow, the cow, the fire, and the gun, we're going to use 2 of those, fire and an axe. And now it's a chainsaw, but fire's all the same. So we're going to use that. So typically this is what I walk up to when landowners call me and they say, well, I want to make better habitat. And I walk up to a pine plantation. And so again, the thick understory of pine needles. And the first thing I ask them to do is to thin and to burn their forests. And they look at me like I'm insane. Which is, it takes a lot of persuading for landowners to tell them, you know, you're going to have to take some risks, and you're going to have to trust me. So public relations is really important. But anyway, so first we're going to thin it. So this is right after a thinning, and it looks it looks a lot more open than that pine plantation did, and it looks kind of messy, but that's okay. And then after we thin it, we're going to burn it. And that looks really dark, and it looks kind of scary. And a lot of people freak out because it's a black understory. But in a couple years, it'll look like that. And so we go from this pine needle blanket understory to this beautiful forb grass component, and it's very open, and it creates so much better habitat for quail and for wildlife and for, you know, deer and turkey and pollinators of anything too. So that's kind of what I do, is a lot of forestry work. And so that's a one kind of then and now picture. And here's another project that I didn't personally work on, but a coworker of mine did. So like I said, we can do that half an acre thing, or we can do the 300 acres. And this is kind of one of those half acre things. And it was in the middle of a parking lot. It was in the middle of a sports complex. And they said, this is kind of boring. Let's do something different with it. And so they called my coworker, Austin, and he said, well, let's plant pollinator habitat. You know, he's not expecting quail or deer or anything to be living in this, but if we plant pollinator habitat, that provides good habitat for them. It provides good, you know, food and living space, and it provides good stopover places for when monarchs are doing their long migration, which they're doing right now. So this is kind of what it looked like, and this is what it looks like now. It's really beautiful. It has a very diverse seed components. Hold on, I'm trying to find my mouse. This is partridge pea. You got some coreopsis and some black-eyed Susans and all kinds of different flowers, which is providing great nectar and food resources for pollinators, bees, monarchs, all alike. So to kind of, I've kind of dropped a couple 2 cents here and there, but to give my 2 cents on what I would have done differently a couple years ago, for starting, number one is start to love your plants now. I never was a plant person in college, and I definitely, you know, plant taxonomy was a super important course, and I didn't really take it seriously. And now I look at plants every day, and I wish I would be able to just identify them like that, and I can't. I have to sit there and look at a field guide, and it's really important that you know your plants and you know how they are affecting your habitat and how they affect your wildlife, and what are good plants and what are bad plants. So get to know your plants. consider taking classes outside your major. I know right now I almost am more of a ecosystem restoration major, or at least I feel like it, than I am a wildlife major. So consider taking, forestry finance. It sounds kind of crazy, but I would have loved to have some experience and background in forestry finance right now. And I wish I would have taken more habitat classes or fire classes or something to that effect. Get involved. It's already kind of engraved here, especially you're already taking the first step by being in TWS, but get involved with another club. You already have your one career club, which is Wildlife Society, and then from there, go and do something different. Have fun at another club. Go join Fire Crew or the Ecosystem Restoration Club or something different. Something to kind of get your mind off of school because it is really stressful. Don't draw a red line. Somebody, Miss Katie Sartini, told me a really important thing when I was applying for this job. I talked to her and I didn't know how I felt about coming all the way down to Louisiana, and I thought, I don't know, it's kind of far and it's 13 hours away from home, and it's 3 years. They asked me for 3 years commitment, and I just don't know if I can do that, Dr. Sartini. And she said, I've never seen you as a red liner type of person. Meaning I kind of drew a line of where I would and I wouldn't go in the United States. Don't do that. Don't ever draw a line anywhere. Go out. If you see a job in, across the country and you think you'd be really good at it and you think it would be fun and it would be good for your resume, go do it. So what? It's so far from home. And if it's a year, if it's 5 years, you can definitely weigh out your pros and cons and know what's good for you. So I never thought I would be living in Louisiana. I definitely had always had my eyes set on the West or staying kind of close at home. And I never saw myself in the South. And now I'm here and I'm really glad that I took a chance and I came down here. So don't draw a red line. Don't cut yourself too short. You're very capable of some crazy things. And one of them might just be moving across. Give the NGO world a chance. A lot of people don't really think of the non-government agencies when they think of jobs out of college. A lot of people move straight to state agencies or federal, or they go to those technician jobs, and those are awesome. They're great. But don't forget about NGOs. They offer a lot of amazing things, and I'm learning so much more than I thought I would, and I'm getting to know people I never thought I would either. And so it's really interesting, and I have so many contacts now across the country that I never thought I would have. So give the NGO world a chance. It's really awesome. It has some great benefits to it. And if you're in a position like mine, you work for an NGO, but you also work with, other government agencies as well. So you kind of get the idea of what you do and you don't like. And finally, like habitat matters. I think it's a little underplayed sometimes, wherever you go to school is habitat, research is not everything. Trust me, my heart was set on going to grad school and doing those technician jobs and, handling those critters. But habitat is what puts critters on the ground and makes them stay on the ground. It's really, really, really important, and making the correct habitat and the best habitat for those wildlife or those critters is all kinds of important. So don't forget about habitat, and definitely think about that kind of aspect. And then kind of finally, I put this Twitter thing right here. And if you can read it, you can, but I'll read it to you. It says, "Big news, y'all. I got a permanent job with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. My dreams came true." And I think a lot of people who are a wildlife major think that. They think they're going to go and work for the Fish and Wildlife Service and be, you know, a head biologist at a really cool Fish and Wildlife Service area. And that's awesome. That's an amazing accomplishment and a huge dream. But if you look down here, after she had got all these, you know, likes and comments and stuff, she said, so for those of you who are interested, it took 2 months of unpaid work, 7 months of retail, 19 months of interning, 19 months of seasonal jobs, and 3 degrees. So her undergrad and her master's to make it all happen. Just be aware that you're not going to get that dream job right out of college. I would say that I'm not in my dream job right now, but maybe I am. I haven't really haven't even been in this position for a whole year yet. But you can't just expect to jump into your dream job. You have to work at it, and don't think you can't just jump into it. That's kind of my biggest pet peeve is people thinking that they're just going to get this dream job right out of college. It takes a lot of work to get a dream job. So just kind of know that those unpaid work times and just that retail job is really important, whether you think it is or not. So I guess with that was kind of all I had. If anybody has any questions, I'll take them now. And then this is my phone and my email if you guys ever have any questions outside of this.
I have a quick question about, oh, my video's not on, I'm sorry. About, you said you did the burning and, well, axing, but chainsawing. Did you guys ever, as I know it can get expensive, but lay seed down? Because I know in stubborn woody areas, if you don't, it's kind of like a lost cause sometimes, just doing the axing and the burning.
Well, okay, so yes and no. There are areas that we do seed. That's another new thing to me is seed mixes and planting seed. What a lot of landowners don't understand, and a lot of people in general, is that seed banks are on the ground already and they can last hundreds of thousands of years. So sometimes just exposing the soil to sunlight and to new nutrients, they will surprisingly spark. So just thinning and burning and seeing how your habitat and how your land looks after you install those management practices are really, really important. And so seeing that, you know, a year or two down the road and thinking, okay, this doesn't look like I want it to, maybe we need to do some additive planting, but doing it right away is not what I usually recommend. Letting it just kind of see what happens first. It's a big part of monitoring is doing the management and then monitoring it afterwards, for sure. Did that kind of answer your question?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sweet. Any other questions for Sabrina? Thank you so much for being here, by the way, Sabrina. That was awesome.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I will be sticking around. I'm sure Sabrina will be sticking around maybe for a couple minutes if you guys want to ask some questions then. But with that, I will stop our